Hello, everyone. It's Charlton, and this is a very unusual story, and it's about I'm continuing on the New Mexico compound that was raided last Friday in northern New Mexico, along the border of New Mexico and Colorado, in the town of Amalia, Taos County, and that's the Taos County Sheriff. I think his first name is Jerry. His last name is Hogreef. That was raided last Friday, after initially they were there surveilling the property for a missing 3-year-old and his father. His father, Siraj Wahab. And actually, even though that name comes up in this press conference, I was sort of stunned to see. At least I just happened to come to a certain section of it where somebody was questioning the sheriff about how he was pronouncing the name. I'll get to it in a minute. It's really strange. So on Monday, they found the remains of a young boy, on the property, and they still have not positively identified the boy, or at least released that to the public. So we don't know for certain if it's the 3-year-old that was missing, and actually on Monday would have been his 4th birthday. There's a press conference, I don't know if I have it up here or not, where the sheriff is actually announcing that news, that they found the remains of a boy on the property. You can see him visibly shaken by it, and where his voice cracks and so forth. They were there, like I said, for the missing young boy and the father who had left Georgia with the boy in December of 2017, basically taken him, abducted him, kidnapped him. From his mother. And, at some point they received a message. They intercepted a message from somebody on the property, one of the female adults, I believe, saying we're starving, without food and water. Georgia detectives somehow had that message, forwarded it to the sheriff of Taos County, and at that point he got a warrant to enter the property and raid the property. When they did, they found 11 children, ages 1 to 15 years old, living malnourished, living in squalor conditions, filthy conditions, guns on the property. There was 2 adults, the father, Siraj Wahab, and if I'm pronouncing that right, and another guy named Lucas Martin, and then 3 other females, 3 female adults, in addition to the 11 children. Siraj Wahaj. So, Abin, that's Siraj Abin Wahaj, 39 years old. And that's what this person, you can't hear it in this press conference. I was just sort of, he has a relation to a fairly prominent imam, in New York City, who is fairly well known and has a controversial background. He actually was the first Muslim to deliver a prayer in the House of Representatives. That's in this CNN article, the CNN report, which seems to focus on the fact that law enforcement didn't enter the property until now, even though the neighbors had said they had spotted the missing child. They had seen a report about the missing child. It seems like that's the emphasis of CNN's reporting here. Okay, and actually in this press conference, following the person who corrects his pronunciation of the man, who basically he doesn't want, when the guys, it's just confusing, but there's so much information, I'm just going to do my best. The reporter is saying, by him saying Siraj Wahaj, he could be confusing the public, and they might think it's this prominent imam in New York, and they don't understand the distinction. So would you please call him Abin Wahaj? Okay. Then the next reporter asks him, because he at some point earlier, not in this press conference, but in another interaction with the press, he had labeled them extremists of Muslim, descent, or Muslim extremists, the compound. And this reporter is asking him, why did you characterize it like that? They sort of go back and forth at some point before he finally goes on to a different reporter. Okay, so now today they're reporting, and that, and this is not just in the Fox News report, it's in the Chicago Tribune, And I don't know where this is coming from exactly, where they came to this conclusion, but it says man arrested at New Mexico compound was training kids to commit school shootings, court documents say. There were many weapons on the property, according to the reports. One of which, I think the man had a loaded AR-15 when they raided the property. I don't know if it was in his possession, in his hands when they did or what, but it's also the Chicago Tribune is saying it has a similar headline: man trained children at New Mexico compound to commit school shootings, prosecutors say. And that was in court today, all right? And but I believe the 5 suspects, the 3 females and the other male, and Siraj Abin Wahaj, they're all facing counts of child abuse, but Siraj is also facing a count of kidnapping, okay? And I believe that this was only brought up after the other suspects were taken out of court. I mean, that's what I think I read in the report, okay? So, but I also saw yesterday, after I made my video about a boy's remains being found at the property, that Siraj Abin Wahaj, is the son of this prominent imam who has a controversial past. And according to the New York Post, was named, and I'll get to the other, the prosecutors, the Siraj Wahaj, the father of Siraj Abin Wahaj, who's actually, his born name is Jeffrey Kearse, was an unindicted co-conspirator, according to the New York Post, of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Okay? He also was a character witness in the trial of the convicted terror plot Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman. That's the blind sheikh, that's this dude. He was a character witness for him in that trial. Okay, so, but it's not just Siraj Abin Wahaj is his son, which he is. The other 3, they're all his family members or in-laws. Okay, the two of the women are his daughters. Okay, they have the same last name as him, Subhana Wahaj and Hujra Wahaj. Those are his daughters, and then Lucas Morton, the other male there who was arrested, is married to one of his daughters, so that's his son-in-law. And Janie LaVille, or Miriam Janie LaVille, is married, I'm almost certain, because he names her his daughter-in-law, is married to Siraj Abin Wahaj. So they're all his family members. In fact, there's a post here that's in the New York Post from his from a Facebook page where he's the imam, basically saying, "Dear brothers and sisters, please make du'as for safe return of our children and grandchildren." And Siraj, Haraj, Subhana Wahaj, son-in-law Lucas Morton, and daughter-in-law Miriam Janie LaVille, and their children, our 12 grandchildren. We believe they may be traveling together. The religious leader wrote in the January 5th Facebook post, which is that right there. And that's the Imam Siraj Wahaj. In fact, the profile picture of that page is the boy, is the 3-year-old boy, which I think was probably posted later with a phone number and so forth. So, but according to Fox News, it says that the father of the missing 3-year-old who was arrested at a New Mexico compound last week was training children to commit school shootings. Court documents filed on Wednesday revealed. Prosecutors allege Siraj Abin Wahaj, 39, was conducting weapons training on the compound where 11 children were found hungry and living in squalor. They asked Wahaj be held without bail. And that's the person, that's Siraj Abin Wahaj right there. There's the 3 female adults that were arrested on the property. There's a picture of the compound, and they're calling it a compound. I have It's a trailer that's, I think, halfway buried underneath the ground, covered in like plastic, stacks of tires like surrounding the property, almost like something from, the Road Warrior kind of, out in the middle of the desert. And in this, and I have no reason to dispute what these people are saying. I'm not disputing what these people are saying. There's a couple who owns the property. I read yesterday that they had actually filed an eviction notice in court, in June, to have them evicted, and it was denied. But they're also claiming here that in I think in April, they went to the authorities and said they had seen the young boy and the father. And so the press is asking, why haven't you done anything sooner? And his response, the sheriff's response, Hogreef, was that they had done surveillance, aerial surveillance, as well as surveillance on the ground, and they had no photographs. And then in the photographs that they showed the mother, she did not identify neither her husband, Siraj Abin Wahaj, or the boy, the missing boy. So, there's a lot to this story. I apologize. It's really difficult to put it all together, but it's just so unusual. And I think the reporting behind it seems to be, is coming from a lot of different directions. In this press conference, I was shocked to hear, and I just happened to go to that under the circumstances where you have a dead child found on a property in this case, that these are the questions. I don't know. It just seemed odd to me, and that it seemed like, I don't know. So you won't be able to hear it. It's very difficult to hear some of this stuff. You won't be able to hear it. The volume is very low.
Siraj Wahab was never identified by surveillance photographs as being there. Yes, sir.
My name is Michael Wyman. I actually represent the Muslims community, small Muslim community. I'd like to correct something about the name. I'd like to ask you if you pronounce the name of the person, Mr. Siraj Ibn Wahaj, and not Siraj Wahaj. He's the son of a very prominent preacher in Islam in America, and you pronouncing his name as though this is the person you're talking about, but he's the son of this person. And in that name should be Ibn Wahaj, so people don't, with all these cameras here, so people don't confuse the name with the prominent leader of the Muslim community in New York. So maybe we should get the name correct. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I just want to do that. On that note, can we also talk about the father?
Let me answer his question first, and then I'll call on you. Thank you for that correction. There is absolutely no disrespect meant to the religion or the mispronunciation of a name. I do believe that the father and the son are separated by many years, so the full identifiers of a person, including their birthday, should clear that up very easily. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sir?
I have a two-part question. One, early on, I believe it was you categorized these people as extremists. When you use the word extremist, how do you define extremists? What in your opinion, made them extreme?
I can't comment further on that. As I said, we worked collectively with FBI, Georgia authorities. The investigation is still ongoing, both federally and at the state level. I can't comment.
It was your testimony that said they were extremists of Muslim belief. Those were your words from Taos County, right?
Yes.
But you don't want to define what extremist means to you? What evidence?
I'm not going to define further anything that could compromise the ongoing investigation. Please respect that. Thank you.
So on one question more.
I tell you what, he's had his hand up for a long time. Let's go to him. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir, over here.
I'll ask the next question. The Georgia warrant said the father wanted to perform an exorcism.
So that second reporter is asking, how do you define extremists? Why are you calling them extremists of Muslim descent, or So, and he said he couldn't comment because of the ongoing investigation. So, But over at the Chicago Tribune, it says the father of the missing Georgia boy was training children at the New Mexico compound to commit school shootings. Prosecutors said in court documents obtained Wednesday. The document said Siraj Abin Wahaj was conducting weapons training with assault rifles at the compound near the Colorado border where 11 hungry children were found in filthy conditions. Prosecutor Timothy Hassan filed the documents while asking that Wahaj be held without bail after he was arrested last week with 4 other adults facing child abuse charges. Prosecutors did not bring up the school shooting accusation in court on Wednesday during the initial appearance by the abuse suspects. So the other 4, they're all I think charged with abuse, but it's the father who's being charged with kidnapping. They didn't bring up the school shooting aspect accusations in court until while the other 4 suspects were in their initial appearance by, it says, let me repeat it. Prosecutors did not bring up the school shooting accusation in court on Wednesday, during the initial appearance by the abuse suspects. Authorities say the remains of a boy were found at the compound but had not positively identified by medical examiners. The child, Abdul Ghani Wahaj, went missing in December in Georgia near Atlanta. I don't know how many weapons were found on the property. It says that Wahaj was armed with, Abin Wahaj was armed with several guns, including a loaded AR-15 assault rifle when he was taken into custody without incident at the compound, the sheriff said. Over here at CNN, they actually provide some video just to give you a look at the compound a little bit, and I'll play it for you a second as well. I wasn't able to find exactly what weapons were uncovered in the raid. What's the inventory of that? But the couple actually that owns the property, they sort of were saying that the compound wasn't searched thoroughly. The couple says, and they actually went back over the weekend and found, I think, 2 guns and other items that were missed by police. That was one of the. They said they were surprised to see the scene was not taped off and was still largely untouched. They found 2 guns, ammo, tactical vests, and video cameras that police initially missed, Jason Badger said, the owner of the property. Jason and Tanya, they're pictured right there above in the picture. So, and here is just a little bit of you can get a look at the compound.
Deputies raided a remote New Mexico compound where they found 11 malnourished children living inside of this squalid, half-buried trailer, with no power, no clean water, and barely any food. But it was Monday when they discovered the real horror.
Yesterday at 11:19 a.m., we did find remains of a young boy.
Body has his father, who
there was, but we would not have been there lawfully.
Wahaj's father, who shares the same name, is a New York imam, the first Muslim to lead a prayer in the House of Representatives, but also a controversial figure. He was a character witness for the mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The Imam's spokesperson said he and the entire faith community is devastated that those remains could possibly be those of Abdul Ghani.
Okay, so that's the story there, and thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I will see you in the next video. Later, man.